Hey all you Tom Whams, Gans, and Gregs. I'm Dale Rodman Jr. the third, and this is Slow to Pro, a YouTube series where I go from slow to fast enough to sometimes get to the top of the bottom split. Today we're back with Low Fuel Motorsport for the first session of the new week, and this week we are at Zandvoort, which was also the track that I had to learn to earn my license during Season 5 on LFM. So I was feeling pretty good about racing here, and we qualified in second place. So as we get the green flag, I'm excited. Zandvoort is tricky. If the guy in front makes a mistake, we've got a chance at our first win. But I braked way too early going into turn one. My smooth brain didn't account for the fact that we're going drastically slower than a normal lap. We dropped 2 positions to the inside, but that's not a big deal. What is a big deal is the BMW behind us. So that's how to go from P2 to dead last in like 2 turns. Should do a tutorial. To be honest, I was fully expecting mayhem just like that. This was the first session of the week on LFM, so maybe not everybody's up to snuff on breaking points and driving in traffic. And it's also, let's be honest, Zandvoort is a blast if you're lapping it by yourself. But if racing, no, this is not a fun racing circuit. The name of the game on Zandvoort is basically qualify the best you can, hope you don't get punted on lap 1, and if you don't get punted, follow the car in front until they make a mistake, because even if you have better pace, there's no room to pass. None. So now that you know how I feel about Zandvoort, we can start skipping ahead to some action. We had 2 fine drivers yield to us when we caught up to them, which was smart because, quite frankly, I was willing to risk it all. 2 people crashed, so we found ourselves up to P13 on lap 3, where we made a move up the inside of this Porsche. And he clearly yielded that once he saw that we were going for it, which is a smart choice. Again, I'm feeling rambunctious right now. But unfortunately, because Zandvoort, is Zandvoort, there's not much action in terms of passing. If we skip ahead, most of the action is just passing people that either spun out, like here, or tried to go too wide without proper spacing to account for netcode, like here, and ended up bumping each other off track. Another skip, and another 2 positions from, probably someone trying too hard to defend. Yeah, so now we're up to P7, until the moment comes when one of those spinny fellas catches up, so let's go ahead and skip to that. And I decided to yield, let him have the inside, instead of running the risk of contact as he fights to regain his position. Because that Porsche was gaining probably around 1.5 to 2 seconds on me every single lap, and the car behind him was pretty much maintaining about a 7 to 8 second gap behind me, so I figured if I get myself into a fight with the Porsche on these last few laps, that could slow us down, possibly to the point of allowing the McLaren behind the Porsche to catch up. So I'd rather lose 1 position to someone who's clearly faster than me, rather than get into a battle with that faster person and possibly end up losing several positions if we get into a wreck or if we allow the traffic behind to catch up. This trick didn't work on David, who was already subscribed, thank you. But maybe it'll work on you, Michael. Mike, whatever you like to go by. Michael, we just hit 100 subscribers, Mike. So you should click the subscribe button. Michael, Mike, drink some water too while you're at it, Michael. Alright, let's skip to the end of the first race. Yeah, there you go. Cross the line, did the best we could, bring it home. Yeah. Okay, time for race number 2, where we're starting from the very back in a field of 18. Green flag, and the goal is to just survive and take it easy. That first race made me, made me hate racing on Zandvoort, and I'm gonna be honest, I've done 7 races so far, all of them look exactly the same. They're super boring. And this one, if my memory is correct, is no different. Zandvoort is like having the sexiest person in the world as your partner, but then you get into bed and they're essentially like a cardboard cutout just lying there. Looked like it was gonna be exciting, but it's actually really bland and boring. And you start to think that maybe playing with yourself was better all along. So what I mean is Zandvoort is great in hot lap mode when you're playing with yourself. When you start getting other cars on, it's just not wide enough. It just doesn't have enough I don't know. This is why I'm not a circuit designer. But whoever designed this one deserves an award, probably for like a good place to test cars, and then deserves to be taken out back behind the barn for what they did to racing on this circuit. And I have to imagine it's much better to race here in real life, where you can go door to door and touch door handles, but netcode means you can't do that just yet in Assetto Corsa Competizione. So Zandvoort sucks, final verdict. So we gained one position earlier from that spun Porsche to put us in the P17, and coming up here in what my head I call the carousel, we've got a spun McLaren to take us up to P16 for the remainder of the opening lap. So we can go ahead and fast forward just a little bit here, just right to turn 1, where we gained 2 more positions from people fighting it out. Thank you. So let's go ahead and skip ahead. During that skip, we gained a position to someone who got a drive-through penalty, and then we got stuck behind this Audi, who I couldn't seem to get past until he made a mistake through what I think is the 3rd turn, which allows us to stick our nose in there, and then finally he yields. That guy went on to finish dead last, and the only thing he was successful in doing during this race was slowing both of us down for several laps in a row. I would highly encourage each and all of you to pay attention to your deltas. If you've got someone catching up to you very, very quickly, or somebody that's just on your tail, stuck to it like a hard booger, maybe a good idea to just let them pass. Let that pressure get out from behind you, you know, let that mirror become clear again. Follow that faster individual. Learn how to be fast. That's what I do. That's how I've gotten faster. It's also, not to brag, how I've gotten a perfect safety rating on LFN. Check the ball, yo! Skipping ahead again, it took us 5 laps to catch this McLaren. I had enough pace to catch him, but not enough pace to make a pass stick. So we followed him for a lap or 2 until we got our moment to take it side by side. And this is where track knowledge is a big deal. I knew that the chicane with the carousel is coming up, and I'd really like to have the inside entry. So I've got to stay wide here and keep my speed up to ensure that we'll have the inside entry. Luckily, the McLaren also knows the circuit and decides to throttle back a tiny bit, which makes the pass stick. But unfortunately, McLaren doesn't stick his brakes. And if I hadn't been paying attention, Goldberg here would have speared my door and ruined the race for both of us. But luckily I was. We avoided contact. And again, I'll reiterate, if you make a mistake like that, you want to try to dive to the outside of the turn. Keep in mind, the car in front of you is going to be turning into the turn. If you're late on the brakes, why would you want to turn directly into their path? It's just silly. I know instinct means you want to dive in, you want to make your turn, but you have a better chance making the turn by going wide, where you give yourself a little bit more runway, if that makes sense. So yeah, mistake, go wide. Mistake, go wide. Mistake, dive in, hit the guy in front of you. So that's it for the action from Zandvoort. We ended up finishing in P11. Next week, Zealous Racing League is beginning 4 cars, 1 cup to hold us over until the track pack releases and we start our new season. It's going to be a fun 4-race series where we're all in the same car for each race, kind of like a spec series. One race is going to be in the new BMW M2, one for the Porsche 992 Cup car, one for the new Super Trofeo Lamborghini, and then finally the Ferrari Challenge. It's going to be a blast. I've barely driven the M2 and I haven't driven the other cars at all, so I'm excited. Races are going to be on Tuesdays with practice beginning at 8:30 p.m. East Coast United States time. Quali starts at 9 p.m. and the race starts right after. There's over 20 spots still available, so check the link in the description to join their Discord and get involved. First race is on May 3rd, 2022, so just a little over a week from now, or a little under a week from now. I'm done. Later this week or early next week, I'll have a race coming from Misano on LFM in the 45-minute series, so be on the lookout for that. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching Slow to Pro. I'm Dale Rodman Jr. the third. I appreciate you. You guys have the kind of day you want to have.